life.
From kindergarten to graduation, Local 3 News covers your child's classroom.
If you have been having conversations in your life about the need to have an estate planner help you with the aging process and as we go through our lives, but you're thinking, I don't know where to start, this is Sarah Beth Locke. She has Every Step Law up in Cleveland, but she services anywhere from Knoxville to Chattanooga. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So would I be right to say that a lot of us know we need to get started with something, that this is something that's going to eventually become a need in our lives, but that is the question of where do you start?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, estate planning, planning for any type of death or incapacitation is something that everyone needs to have done, but very few people want to accomplish it, right?
Yeah.
I think the most recent statistic is like 2/3 of Americans have never done anything. So this is definitely what we specialize in, is really our heart and our service to our community.
Yeah, you said to me, we are different on purpose. What does that mean?
Yeah, so I definitely think, you know, when people think about working with an attorney to create an estate plan, there's kind of a traditional process of, you know, call up an attorney, ask for a document, get it drafted, and you're sent on your way. We have really tried to enhance that process to focus on a more holistic form of estate planning that really focuses on going beyond the documents and really focusing on whatever outcome it is that a family wants to accomplish. Typically that looks like avoiding court, avoiding conflict. We have a lot of talk about family dynamics and the assets you actually have, to really go beyond the documents and look at all the logistical things that need to happen for that plan to actually work, right?
Right.
Which is generally the goal with any family.
So you mentioned that 2/3 of Americans have not done anything towards this, which means that 2/3 of people coming to you aren't educated at all in even what questions to be asking, and that's not meant to be a knock, it's just that's not what we do.
Yeah, exactly.
So as part of your job, do you feel to guide? Like, are you sometimes having to pull from people?
Yeah, no, totally. We are very, very educational in our process. I'm very well aware that people don't often talk about death planning, right? So people come to us and we really want to cover just whatever your current reality is, right? So before we ever talk about creating a plan with any family, we want to sit down and look at whatever plan you already have. Now, for most people, that means they've never done a plan, right? And so that looks like going over the state default law and how that would apply to their actual family and dynamics and the assets that you have. By going over what we have right now, it becomes much easier to talk about what we want to have happen and then have a conversation about whatever changes may or may not need to happen to get that family where they want to be.
Okay, let's talk about the importance of having a plan. So let's just take a traditional scenario, and we're going to pretend that you're a 42-year-old married couple with 2 children.
Yeah.
Ages, I don't know, 12 and 10. Okay, that's who you are. And you're thinking, okay, honey, we got to go take care of this, but they've done nothing.
Yeah.
What would step 1 be?
I mean, obviously step 1 is just starting a conversation, right? Which I think a huge thing for people is it can be scary to call a law firm. It can be scary to call an attorney. So calling us and just starting out the process of what do we even want. At our firm, the very first thing that we want to do is we have a meeting that we call the Life and Legacy Planning Session. This is very much not a consult, right? So we have some homework pre-meeting where people can get really clear on what they want to have happen and the assets that they have. We sit down during that meeting and we go over what they have so they can identify objectives for the family that you described, right? A huge thing for many people is guardianship planning, right? Making sure that those kiddos are going to be taken care of. As a mom myself, right, I know that is near and dear to any family with minor children, and so we have a lot of conversation about that. But going over just kind of where we are gives them the ability to identify where they want to be. Through that meeting, it is not a consult, right? It is a 2-hour working meeting where it is one-on-one time with me, and it's very specialized to their actual life, right? And so through that process, it's very educational, as you can imagine.
And even though they've had the homework sort of to do beforehand, in the 2 hours, are you asking them questions? And if they say, I don't know, can we go home and discuss? Is that okay?
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. This first meeting is entirely educational and really meant to just provide support to people, right? Now, I will say many people through that process typically identify things that they want to change, right? Because most people need to do something special for their family. We truly believe that estate planning is not a one-size-fits-all process.
Right.
So it's really important to get into every family.
It also, your estate, if you will, changes as you go through your life. So let's say you do this, and now your 10 and 12-year-old children are 20 and 22. now the terms of your will, the way you're planning your estate, that's going to shift, right?
Yeah.
But they just come back to you for that next step.
Yeah, absolutely. And one part of our process that's kind of different on purpose, right, is every single client that we work with, we have them on at least a 3-year check-in process. So once you're a client with us, at a minimum, we're going to reach out on a 3-year basis and just say, hey, how's it going, right? Do we need to update your asset inventory? Anything about your life changed? If your life hasn't changed in 3 years, then the law may have, right? So just as a practitioner, at a minimum basis, I want to make sure my plans are still legally sufficient.
Before we got on air, twice you used the word relational with me. You said we're much a very relational firm.
Yeah.
So you think about your clients as your friends.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are very connected with all of our clients because we talk about deeply personal things, right, and goals. And I mean, any conversation about death or incapacity is very personal, right? And we really think that estate planning is very human in nature, so much so that as a part of our process for every single client, right, we offer something that we call the legacy interview. It is quite literally a recorded session where we ask you questions about your life and what you would want your loved ones to know. We edit it and make it look nice, and it's just included on a USB with all of your electronic copies at the end of the process, right?
Wow.
And we do that really through an experience that I had where a dear friend of mine, right, her father had passed, and we were talking, and you know, she said, since his passing, I realized that I did not have a single thing with his voice on it. And I just thought, oh my God, like I never want my clients to experience that, right? So we build this into our holistic process of planning for people so that they can give that to their families.
What
afterwards.
a lovely thing.
Yeah.
So here's where you will find her. It's Every Step Law Group over on Rogers Street in Cleveland, which is where she is originally from. But wherever you're living in Tennessee, are you also licensed in Georgia, or is it
Just Tennessee right now,
Just Tennessee
yes.
right now. EverystepLawGroup.com. She can help you remotely if that's beneficial to you. 405-3514 is her phone number.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sarah
Thank you
Beth.
so much. I really enjoyed it.
With McValue at McDonald's, you'll get deals on breakfast, which comes in handy when you've got the whole family in town.